Good afternoon and welcome to ELL Plus with me, Dan Wareing.
And me, Pingping Chen.
In this week's programme, deadly pollution on Lewisham streets. The mother of a 9-year-old who died of asthma says it's time to act.
It's a sin that young people are having to literally choke themselves through life. I think it's shocking.
There is this much sugar in a can of fizzy drink. How harmless come to all parents.
You could gain about a stone in weight if you drink a can of fizzy drink every day.
London City Royals on a winning streak at Crystal Palace.
There have been growing calls for action to be taken over the levels of air pollution in London. Campaigners have highlighted the negative impact this is having on health of many Londoners. A study by Goldsmiths College revealed pollution levels in parts of Lewisham are 6 times over the World Health Organization guidelines. Dan Wareing has been looking at what could be done to reduce air pollution.
Fumes. This is now the norm for residents of London. With every day that passes, the cloud of smog gets thicker. Pollution in the capital has become the cause of much controversy. According to a recent study led by an expert at Goldsmiths College, pollution levels in parts of Lewisham are 6 times higher than the World Health Organization guidelines. Rebeka died after suffering a fatal asthma attack 5 years ago. She lived 25 metres from a heavily polluted street in Lewisham. Her mother, Rosamond Kissy Deborah, is campaigning to change London's air pollution policies.
If every year between 8 and 12 children are dying in London, and 50% of air pollution is from public transport. It needs to be more efficient, more reliable, and it needs to be cleaner. The government should subsidise public transport to make it cheaper so the average person can take it. It's a sin that young people are having to literally choke themselves through life. I think it's shocking.
Last year, the government's Committee on the Medical Effects of Air Pollutants estimated that up to 36,000 people die in the UK annually as a result of air pollution. That's up 20% in 3 years. A report by the University of Oxford has said that cars on average cost the NHS £8,000 every year due to air pollution. Sadiq Khan, the Mayor of London, wants to introduce 12 low-emission zones and make double-decker buses hybrid and electric. And by 2037, he wants to make all buses zero-emission. But will Londoners really be willing to change their transport habits and their lifestyles?
On the freeway, just at certain points, different tolls for people. And so the car, unless you're a commuter and have a ticket, you have to pay a certain toll to use that freeway.
The initiative that's going on in the city centre right now for the ultra-low emission zones could really be expanded to busier roadways and stuff like that in areas like Lewisham to help lower the emissions out here, as well as what they're doing in the centre of the city.
A reduction in diesel buses in favour of electric would certainly cut down air pollution, for sure.
Meanwhile, Rosamond is fighting to get a change in anti-pollution policies in memory of her daughter. She's hoping to raise £30,000 through crowdfunding to help pay for a fresh inquest into Ella's death, which she hopes will highlight the links between her daughter's illness and air pollution. The government is making moves to cut pollution. Ella's mother is hoping her campaign will speed up the progress. Dan Wareing, East London Lines. The Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, has today announced a £25 million fund to encourage greener forms of transport in the capital. This coincides with a National Clean Air Summit, where city leaders from across the UK are calling on the government to invest in cutting air pollution. Eliza Ketcher is at City Hall.
So I'm here outside City Hall for today's National Clean Air Summit, where Sadiq Khan is proposing a new £25 million car scrappage scheme to clean up London's toxic air. The scheme will pay for older, more polluting vehicles to be taken off the roads and encourage businesses and residents to switch to greener modes of transport. Toxic air has been at illegal levels in the capital since 2010, causes about 40,000 early deaths per year. The Mayor calls this a national disgrace that shortens lives, damages our lungs and severely impacts our NHS. London's ultra-low emission zone comes into effect on the 8th of April, which is just 7 weeks from now. If vehicles don't meet new standards by then, they'll be charged £12.50 a day to reduce air pollution levels by about 45% by 2020. Today's summit will use the message #LoveCleanAir as city leaders from across the UK will call on the government to cut critical pollution levels.
Eliza, what's the £25 million going to be spent on?
Well, obviously, as well as tackling issues like knife crime, childhood obesity, and also making London a cycle-safe zone, cutting air pollution is a top priority for the London mayor at the moment. His full budget is going to be released at the end of the month, but for now we know that the 25 million is going to go into making new low-emission bus zones, as well as improving London's public transport system to generally make the capital a more sustainable place for everybody.
Oh, thank you very much, Eliza. Ditch the fizzy drinks and don't give them to your children. That's the advice of Tower Hamlets Council, which is encouraging its residents to cut down on their sugar intake as part of the Fizz-Free February campaign launched by Sugar Smart. Tower Hamlets has one of the highest rates of child obesity in the UK. Rebeka Rimkute reports.
British supermarket shelves are stacked with fizzy drinks. However, health experts are warning that overindulging your sweet tooth with these sugary treats can lead to serious health implications.
There is 8 tablespoons of sugar in just this one can of Coca-Cola, which is over the recommended limit for anyone aged 11 or over.
Tower Hamlets is one London borough where child obesity rates are expanding. The borough has been identified as having the 6th highest proportion of obese children, aged between 10 to 11 in the country. In a bid to reduce the borough's sugar intake, Tower Hamlets councillor Denise Jones is heading the Fizz-Free February campaign. She is a cabinet member for adults, health and well-being.
Messages that we have to get across are about saving money, so you can save about £438 a year if you stop drinking 1 can of drink every day. 79% fizzy drinks contain 6 lumps of sugar, so if you think how much sugar you're drinking if you drink a can of drink, or more than 1 can of drink a day, you could gain about a stone in weight if you drink a can of fizzy drink every day.
In the UK, the introduction of the sugar tax in 2018 sought to lower the consumption of fizzy drinks.
And fizzy drinks in general are the largest and single source of sugar intake for children, and it's leading cause of diabetes and obesity.
Despite the spike in prices, Brits continue to sip on their favourite fizzy drink. Fizzy drinks are the largest single source of sugar for children aged 11 to 18, and they provide an average of 29% of daily sugar intake. While it's clear that ditching the fizzy drink tips the scale in favour of better health for the future, it's no small feat. Rebeka Rimkute, East London Lines.
Here with the latest news from the Boroughs and East London Lines is Jemima Charles.
We're following up the news in today's Times newspaper about one of the 3 British schoolgirls who fled Bethnal Green 4 years ago to join ISIS in Syria, who wants to return to the UK to have a baby. A government minister this morning said that although she may return to the UK, she might face jail charges upon her arrival. The story about the so-called Croydon cat killer has also taken a new turn. An animal welfare group and multiple vets have received reports about mutilated animals, despite the police investigation stating that no human was involved. They closed their inquiry last year. And we've also been focusing on pollution. A report from Croydon says that they are installing 3 new electric charging points in different locations. The boss of a cleaning and maintenance firm also tells us why his investment in electric vans is already paying off. All this and more is on www.eastlondonlines.co.uk.
Thank you, Jemima.
Stay with us on ELL Plus News for more stories after the break.
Campaigners are trying to stop plans to turn the Whitechapel Bell Foundry into a hotel. Proposals to turn it into a bell-themed hotel were submitted earlier this year, but opponents of the scheme want to return the building to its original purpose and bring bell making back to East London. Alex Dunn has more.
Whitechapel Bell Foundry was one of London's longest established family businesses, dating back to the 16th century. But 2 years ago, it was bought by Redcliffe Capital, with plans to turn it into a hotel. Now campaigners are trying to stop the planned development. They want bell making back in Whitechapel.
I can see and understand that the Hughes, who owned the foundry beforehand, found it difficult to run it commercially. But that's because they only made and sold church bells on their own. It would be perfectly possible, in my view, and several other people have shown that it's possible, to run it as a foundry. It's a big area for artists. Artists use foundry.
The Whitechapel Bell Foundry mainly made church bells and their accessories. It was notable for being the original manufacturer of Liberty Bell, a known religious symbol in the United States, and for recasting Big Ben, which rings from Knock Clock Tower at House of Parliament in London. The idea of campaigners buying back the foundry is popular with some locals.
There's a lot of historic things inside there, so I would love to bring my children here and show them what there is in there. So no, I don't think it should be a boutique hotel.
I'm American and I just moved here. All I know about this thing is that they made the Liberty Bell. So yeah, I'm sad to see it go. I feel like it should be a landmark of some kind, because of all of the things that it's made. Whether or not that means it can't be used as a hotel, I don't know. But I think generally I don't love seeing that kind of stuff happen.
If campaigners can't buy back the foundry, they believe it would be possible to run it as a going concern and continue Britain's oldest manufacturing company. Unless though, is London lies.
A new vegan cafe held its launch party in Hackney last Friday. The Wave Cafe has opened because of increased demand for vegan food. Our reporter Jemima Childs went out to find more.
Is being vegan a piece of cake? The enthusiasm for veganism continues to grow as this new vegan cafe called Wave opens in Hackney. Wave stands for We Are Vegan Everything, and they serve lots of contemporary alternatives to traditional favourites. It's hard to know exactly how many people are choosing plant-based meals over meat in the UK. But it is certainly becoming a lot more popular, and it also means a business opportunity. Co-founder Sophie Beale created this cafe after the success of their vegan bakery in Camden Market.
We definitely get people coming in that are just curious, and it's nice to kind of sway those that have like a kind of bad view on it to like actually eat something that shocks them. We're not here to judge anyone, but we're here to offer what we think is good for the world and good for us to eat.
The menu at Wave serves food that's not necessarily considered vegan, such as vegan cheesecake and vegan smoked salmon. The cafe aims to make vegan food available and easy for everyone to buy.
We want to teach people how easy it is to make good food that's really simple and homemade and fresh and vegan.
For locals, this is something to celebrate. Although veganism is often seen as a new trend, the Vegan Society have been promoting this lifestyle for over 70 years. The World Health Organization also advises people to limit their intake of processed and red meat. Perhaps we can expect to see more cafes like this popping up around Hackney and the surrounding boroughs soon. And with veganism proving so popular, it looks like the competition to deliver well-priced vegan food is only just hotting up. Jemima Childs, East London Lines, Hackney.
Transport for London is asking for the public's opinion on a new cycle route from Tottenham Hill to Camden Vale Seven Sisters Road. This is part of Mayor Sadiq Khan's 100 and £42 million plan to improve cycling routes in area with poor transport links. Chloe Collins has more.
When cycling, you want to feel safe on the road. That doesn't mean everyone is. Over 600,000 people cycle in London each year. London Mayor Sadiq Khan is aiming to double the number of cycle journeys over the next 6 years by improving the cycle route infrastructure. Khan also hopes to use cycling as a way to address poor air quality and congestion. More people commute to work by cycle in Hackney than any other London borough. The council is advising people to have a look at the plans and let TfL know what they think.
The government wants to continue to make cycling a mode of choice for people and encourage those to feel safe on the road. The new cycling infrastructure will be based off data taken from TfL.
Hackney Council says it works closely with charities and organizations to provide a safe and equal space for everyone. The London Cycling Campaign, a charity that encourages people to take two wheels, welcomes the new action plan to ensure comfort for all level of cyclists.
You know, there's a reason that we see predominantly, we see more men cycling than women. We don't see children cycling in London. We don't see elderly people cycling in London, and that's an inequality in our transport network for cycling. You wouldn't see that on the tube. You'd see a full range of Londoners using that facility. So the fact that we don't shows that there's inequality, and that has to be addressed. It's a social justice issue. If the children need to be able to cycle to school, that would do huge amounts for the health of our city and as well as the wealth.
2 other cycling routes through Hackney are also under discussion. A formal consultation is due in May. The future of cycling is looking bright. Chloe Collins, East London Lines.
And now with the sports news, here's Puja Mazumder.
Thanks, Dan. In recent years, both national and domestic basketball in the UK have been in trouble. There was a lack of funds, fans were moving away from the game, and teams struggled to survive. But despite all the challenges, Britain's newest professional basketball team are on a winning path to success. Tom Parker went to Crystal Palace to find out more.
7 months ago, when the London City Royals didn't even exist. But when basketball promoter Namo Shire partnered with marketing guru John Sawyer, the Royals were born. They then appointed former Great Britain basketball star Jay Williams as head coach. Together, they attracted some of the best players from around the world with the aim of building a top-tier British franchise while bringing some excitement back to the London basketball scene.
I took it on because, quite simply, there was an opportunity to create a pathway for elite British basketball players to reach the top. We brought excellent British players back from Europe and beyond to come and play in the BBL. And that's our mantra, we're about the best of British.
They're not the best yet, but after an impressive string of home wins, the Royals are 4th in the British Basketball League. And on Tuesday, they played in the first leg of the BBL Trophy semi-finals against veteran team, the Glasgow Rocks. After an impressive start, the Royals led 45-28 heading into the second half. Standout performances by Wes Washburn, Matthew Bryan Manning and Deshone Much meant that despite a fight back by Glasgow, the Royals remained strong until the end.
The buzzer there means that it's the 3rd win in 6 days for the London City Royals, taking their winning streak to 7. The momentum is building, and you get the sense that this is a team with spirit, ability and depth in the squad, coupled with the experienced management from Jay Williams and the commercial brand direction from John Sawyer, meaning that this team has a bright future ahead of them.
Maybe a little disappointed it could have been more, but, hey, going into the game, if you said, would you take a 20-point win going to Glasgow? Yeah, definitely. We're a different team than we were a couple of months ago, so, I'm not too worried now. I think we're going to play the same way on the road as we have been doing at home.
Right now, we're just trying to focus on playing with the same level of intensity. It doesn't matter where we play, but as long as you can play with a high level of intensity, we have a chance to win every game.
It's not even halfway through the season, so the London City Royals have got a long way to go. All the pieces are in the right place, and only time will show if they can become kings of the court. Tom Parker, East London Lines, with the London City Royals.
In other sports news, rugby, Croydon RSC played Rayner's Park on Saturday. Croydon lost their previous match, but are confident they will bounce back and end the season higher up in the league table.
Last week played Old Totonians.
It
was a tough game. Had a few players missing due to injury and just unavailable to play. They pushed us to our limits. Didn't have the best performance, lost the ball a couple of times, a few mistakes, but yeah, hopefully we can come back on a win this week. Got Raynes Park, we've got a few players back. Basically, the main focus is we're going to try and retain the ball as long as possible and just work our way up the field and push them back and hopefully come out with a win.
The Active Londoners campaign is offering grants for local sports. The aim of the fund is to tackle inactivity by supporting individuals and organisations who use sports and other kinds of physical activity to improve the physical and mental health of Londoners. Cricket. The new season starts in April and the Victoria Park League is increasing the number of teams playing in this year's competition. There are currently 24 teams in the league and the organisers want to add one more team this season. That's all for sports. Back to you, Dan.
Thank you, Puja. That's it for now. Thank you for joining us.
We will see you next time.